Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Happy belated Valentine's Day, I mean. Anyway, I met this beautiful girl, and I started reading books with the greatest of difficulty. I managed to read up to 60 pages. Anyway, I was walking down the beach, and there was this little boy. There was a shoal of little starfish that had washed up on shore. Millions of little starfish. So this little boy was throwing these starfish one by one into the water. And there was this statistician, who was a professor in fact, and he walked up to the boy and asked, "Why are you doing this pointless act? If you are going to do this at this rate, it would take well over 100 years for you to get all the starfish into the ocean. And even if you manage to do that, it would have no significant effect on the entire population of starfish in the world." The boy stopped for a moment and smiled at the statistician, picked up another starfish and threw it into the ocean, and replied, "Yes, sir, it would make a world of change for that little starfish that I threw in the water. It would make a world of change for that little starfish that I threw in the water." So, dear everyone, let us take this speech and see how it goes. It is in the true spirit of sportsmanship that I would like to welcome our chief guest this evening, Mr. Tennakoon, our guest of honor, Mrs. Tennakoon, the principals of all the participating schools, the members of the Lyceum staff who made this event a reality, the parents whose love can cure any disease, and of course, my dear children, my dear athletes. We are indeed proud to have a gentleman as our chief guest this evening. They say that cricket is a gentleman's game, and Mr. Tennakoon is one person who played this game to its true description. As an educate of St. Thomas's College, he was the head cop and was the captain of the first 11 cricket team. He received school colours for badminton and hockey. He joined Ceylon Tobacco in 1967 as a marketing representative and rose to senior management as the marketing communications manager in 1993. He joined Sri Lanka Cricket as chief executive from 2000 to 2003 and was the manager of the team from 2005 till 2009. He is currently working as the manager of the Sri Lankan cricket team right now. Sir, we are indeed proud to have a man of your caliber as our chief guest this evening. Stepping back the roads of time, during the times of black and white segregation, during the times of racial discrimination, where the whites discriminated the blacks, a fragile child was born. From the day that she was born, her life was an uphill battle. Soon as she was born, she was diagnosed with life-threatening diseases, including a severe crippling disease. And as an infant, the doctors predicted that she would not live for long. She was the 20th child in a family of 22 children. Her parents were Black American and they were both manual laborers, born into a family of poverty. At the age of 4, with all these sicknesses, the child was further diagnosed with the paralyzing disease of polio. He was paralyzed. He could not walk. And the doctor told the mother, this child would never walk again. The mother replied, there is no disease that a mother's love cannot cure. So then started the mother, with the permission of her husband. The paralyzing disease required physiological treatment. And in the town of Tennessee, where this child was born, there was only one black doctor to treat the child, the black children in that community. And he was not a physicist. To get treatment from a physicist, the mother had to travel 80 kilometers in 1940. To do this, she had to take 2 days off work, feeding a family of 22. With the permission of her husband, she got the required permission and traveled for 2 years, 104 times a year, 208 times in 2 years, twice a week, every week, for 2 years, dedicated to curing her daughter. And every time this little girl went to the physicist, she did at least one exercise more and took at least one step more than the doctor wanted of her. 2 years later, she rose from the bed with metal structures, 4 metal rods around her legs, and started walking, holding the bed, just around the bed. She was good to go. 2 years later, that is, at the age of 6. For 6 years after that, the mother continued therapy with her love and care and with the help of her family. At home, she did it every day. 6 years later, at the age of 12, this child walked out of the world of polio into the defining moment of her life. She walked without the metal structures. Following the footprints of her elder sister, she started playing basketball for her school. 2 years later, she led the basketball team to the national championships, a school team. But no. Another athletic gift was discovered 2 years later. At the age of 16, she participated in the Olympics, representing the United States. She was the youngest child to represent her country, the youngest female to represent the United States of America. And they brought home the bronze medal. Upon returning home, there were many to accuse the selecting squad for sending an ill child to represent the country. Stepping off the plane, she promised the press that she would get 2 more gold medals the next time she participated in the Olympics. This was in 1956, she was 16. In 1960, at the Rome Olympics, in an unprecedented performance, at the 100 meters and 200 meter events, she won the gold medal in record-breaking time. During her events, 100 and 200, she had a sprained ankle. The relay, she was the last runner. And when she picked up the baton, she dropped it. Even with a sprained ankle, she ran and led the American team to first place. And by this, she was named the fastest woman in history Her name is Wilma Rudolph. Dear students, do we stop to think? Thank you, my students from Lyceum, for that encouraging round of applause. Thanks, guys. Do we, having fully functional arms and legs, take one moment to appreciate it? They say that the rough road leads to the heights of greatness. So if you are faced with the rough road, face it head on without any fear, because the bright day is ahead. A champion is one that rises when he can't. To you, my dear sports coordinators, teachers in charge, coaches, and all other teachers, I would say to you on behalf of the students that you are like the candle, melting away while giving light to others. And to you, my dear parents, on behalf of children, my dear mother, my heaven is under your feet. To you, all the fathers out there, my dear father, your advice is worth far more than 100 schoolmasters. My dear students, remembering that I will be dead soon is the most vital tactic that I've used in making big decisions. All fears of failure, thank you. All fears of failure, loss, and embarrassment just fall away at the face of death, leaving behind truly what is important. Last but not least, we are lions, my dear students. We do not eat grass, no matter how hungry we are. Thank you, one and all.